Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Canadian Power Rankings for Week 8. I'm your host, Jordy Milley, and today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Now, before I would go through the first place team and move all the way down to the bottom place team, the 11th. But today I'm going to make you wait and start at the 11th and go all the way down to the first. And I'm going to keep that going as, I think it's a bit more appropriate. Save the best for last, if you know what I mean. So, without further ado, let's get into it. At the bottom, we have FC Edmonton. Now, not exactly their fault as they haven't played since the 22nd. So, obviously, they're going to stay down at the bottom because they haven't played. So, nothing much to comment there. But falling all the way down to 10th is Halifax Wanderers. Now, it's very tough in order to put them down here as, they didn't exactly play this weekend. But following up that 4-0 loss to Forge, they did lose to Toronto, and they did bottle a chance to move on. It was an MLS side, so that's not too harsh, but the MLS sides this week did do very well, as we will go over, which inevitably Halifax had to move down. Now, it's still tight in that area of the power rankings, as we can see, but at the same time, some teams have to be punished for poor form, and that's a lot what it's based on. It's on recent form, games played, and what position and what opposition they have played. So Halifax are in 10th, but hopefully they don't stay there. They definitely move up in the if they can get some form going again. They are an exciting team to watch, but they do need to refine their form. Now, in moving up from 10th to 9th is our own Toronto FC. Now, it's very, very good form. Their rebuild is still in full function. Now, they still have a lot to go, but that result against the Fire on the weekend was so crucial. Following that up from a win against Halifax meant that it felt right to move them ahead of Halifax because they did beat them in terms of power rankings. The team that beats the other team should be moving up. Not all cases, because sometimes, that's just a bad result in a good run of form. But for Toronto, it's worth it. Fighting that to get that win, even though they lost Jonathan Osorio in the 12th minute, they were still able to win that game, which shows that they aren't just a one-person team. Michael Bradley still holds on the field very well, but Jonathan Osorio is very crucial to that team. But it's good to see that they can fight through adversity a little bit. We're starting to see some character from this team, which is, what you need to see from a team that's in rebuild. If you can start to see character with a lot of young players, then, you have a good, solid foundation to work from. Because Michael Bradley can't play forever. Jonathan Osorio ain't going to be there forever. He's not going to be brilliant like he usually is. So finding that core that can really push through results is good. Following up from getting into the semifinals, who they end up playing Montreal, which is like a great matchup for the semifinals. I'm actually kind of glad that it's not going to be those two in the finals again because, let's be honest, it's a little boring. But Toronto is now 8th. And again, Vancouver is in 8th. It hurts a little bit because they beat Cavalier on penalties, which they didn't play too well, which is why they don't move up a ton because we are a CPL side and they are an MLS side. So, of course, they can't just move up just from one victory, which they fought hard against Sporting Kansas City in order to actually start to gain some momentum in the league because, let's be honest, Cavalier's been carrying them, and without him, this Vancouver Whitecaps team would be glued to the bottom of both conferences. So good on them for fighting through it, getting some form, getting some good results. And in all honesty, they're playing the best they've played all season. So they're going to keep climbing if they keep up this form. In 7th, we have Valor. Now, a good result on the island against Pacific FC. Now, they should have held on for win. They really should have. But, does Sean Rea ever score any normal goals? I swear I've never seen it. There's been like 3 times this season where he's just blown up by the keeper, chipped Callum Irving, who was well off his line. I don't know where he was going. He was in no man's land. But again, Valor is showing that they have that toughness. They have those players that can produce these spectacular moments. And it's just great to see them do that. So for those reasons, tying against the league leaders, they deserve to go up into the 7th position. Now, one team didn't play this weekend. They do play a little in a couple days, but Atletico, I'm just going to keep them there. Same with Forge. We'll just link them two together. Forge and Atletico, I want to say Madrid, Atletico, Ottawa stayed together because didn't play. The teams below them didn't do enough in order to actually move ahead of them, but I think they stay there. I think that's a fair result. So we're just going to keep them. I'm going to keep them there this week in my power rankings because I don't think they deserve to move down, nor do they have any games to show that they should move up. And the teams above them did better. So, and going to continue with that theme. York is our 4th position this week. Now, a little tough to keep them there because obviously they are in the semifinals of the Canadian Championship, but at the same time they did lose to Cavalry, and Cavalry were pretty comfortable in that game. Obviously, it was even at times, but Cavalry just had a little bit more, and it was at York's home, which they don't have a sellout crowd or anything by that stretch of the imagination, but they do indeed, have home field advantage. That's a traveling team. Cavalry have to travel all the way over to Toronto, right? So that's going to be difficult for them on their legs. But they showed that they were able to actually push past that. So York stayed in 4th. And 3rd, I'm going to move Pacific FC down to 3rd because that draw against Valor, they didn't play particularly well. They did have a great goal. Don't get me wrong. They fought back really well and showed that they are champions for a reason, that they can force a point out of something that they maybe not deserve too much. But I don't know. I just don't think that they deserve to stay in the 2nd place position this week because there's another team that's played better, and that's Cavalry, who are in 2nd this week. Even though they fought tooth and nail on last Wednesday in order to try and beat the Vancouver Whitecaps, but they just weren't able to. Penalties, arguably they played better than Vancouver, who are an MLS side, let's not forget. So Cavalry followed that up with a great win at York United, who Erabum Peppel was able to score his first ever CPL goal. Came from Hill, so that's really great to see the youth being implemented, actually making an impact. He had a couple of trials over in England, so looks like he's back, ready to play, and honestly looks great. So I hope that he can get some more game time in him and show what he's all about. Because in this league, that's why we have the league. I mean, the average age of each team hovers around 23, 24 years old, sometimes 25 for the more experienced teams like Forge and Cavalry. But it's about development. There's specific rules that the CPL has to follow, that the teams within the CPL have to follow, or else they get punished financially, disciplinary, how it goes. So it's great to see youth in every single team, and Aaron Peppel is showing that he is taking the most advantage of this. And that's why Cavalry is in Sect Week. Good on them. They can keep climbing. Like I said in the beginning, they'll just keep climbing. But undisputed champions again of the power rankings is going to get a little boring, but honestly, Montreal have been fantastic this season. They had a little blip last week, but it shows now that they've pushed past that and are actually moving forward. They're playing some fantastic ball at the moment, grinding out results no matter what the scoreline is. It was a little bit tricky on the weekend, very high scoring game. Those can go pretty much anywhere, but it was good to see Montreal continue their flying form at the moment, and honestly, I don't see them stopping. They're going to make the playoffs even though they didn't make it last year. They're just going to keep going and keep pushing. They're such a great team. I don't see anyone ever topping them. Cavalry are going to have to win every single game for a while, and Montreal are going to lose a couple in order for them to top them in the power rankings. But that's my power rankings for this week. Let me know what you guys think. I know I'm going to upset some people, which is fine because, that's why we have this channel, so people can have a respectful discourse with each other and have different opinions. So that's it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like and subscribe this video, share it to a friend, and let me know what you guys think. See ya.